So let's continue with the Learning Gentle Wisdom series on YouTube that I'm doing. That's about this verse. Who among you is wise and understanding? By his good conduct let him show his deed in the gentleness of wisdom. Good conduct, okay. And gentle wisdom. Gentleness and good conduct. Let's see if we can do it. In my last video, it was about a new believer asking like fundamental questions. Just wanted information from the Bible, that type of stuff. It was kind of easy to be gentle. Let's see if we can be gentle here, because this is a more older person at least, maybe a little bit more mature, and they have like a personal problem in their life, you know. Something's going wrong. We don't want to accuse anybody, right? There's no point in playing the blame game if we are not in the position where we are getting to judge somebody anyway, right? I have friends that always come to me with their little problems, like as if I work for them, even though I don't. I have a feeling that resentment is slowly building up inside of me for these people because I'm constantly feeling like I'm being used. I help them so much to the point that they feel like it's a normal thing and they're not even grateful for the things that I do. They demand and waste my time and attention. And if I think of refusing to help them or finding ways to avoid these people, which I have done sometimes, also I am overcome with a feeling of guilt for not helping someone in need, even if it's a small thing. What would you do in this type of a situation? Okay. Let's not accuse anybody. Let's not accuse the so-called friends of being like manipulative, nasty people. Let's not accuse you of being the common denominator that's getting used. Let's not do any of that. Instead, let's look at what you wrote. I think this is the key sentence. They demand and waste my time and attention. That's great. Like that's the confession of sins. You're doing something that's a mistake, something that's an error. And what is it? You're serving men instead of the Lord, instead of God. And that's a mistake. If people knew what was good for them, yeah, it would be fine to serve people because it's for the good of them, right? But because people don't know, or maybe they are doing something more corrupt, more shady, like using their own mistakes as like some kind of a mechanism to get help from people, get them to do things for them. Usually it's like borrowing money and things like that, obviously. If they're doing that, you have to be like careful. I guess like a therapist would say, you know, you need to set boundaries and stuff like that. We're not going to set any boundaries. Instead, we are going to do what Scripture tells us, and that is to serve God. And that means we have to do things wisely, you know? I guess like an unwise teacher might use this verse now to say that actually you're doing okay because you're being gentle and helpful, and that's what the Bible tells us. No. Christ told us to be wise like the serpent and innocent like the dove. So what we have to do is wise, not something that's can be used by wicked people. That wouldn't be wise. It's not wise to be used by wicked people. But we have to be innocent about it, and that is we serve God instead. And that means you look at things from a higher perspective. When they come and ask help, you're not helping them in the way that they, you know, repeatedly ask you to help, because it's obviously not working for them. They keep coming back constantly. They're this needy. Where is that neediness coming from? Like, what is their mistake that has led them to this place in life? And that's the place, I think, if you want to serve God, that you can do the most help. We aren't really setting any kind of boundary. Rather, we're going in. And going into their territory. So, if you know, money is the issue, they can't pay rent, they're gonna be homeless, their kids are gonna be thrown out, you know, they already stink, they can't even take showers because the water bill isn't being paid. You know, this is just like a dumb example, But you get it. Well, why is that happening? Are you living in a too expensive apartment? Where are you wasting your money? You know what I'm talking about? We didn't set a boundary. No, we went through their boundaries because they weren't really properly secure anyway. Their boundaries were trash. We trampled them, right? That's what scripture says. If salt loses its saltiness, what good is it except for to be trampled by men? And when we're doing things like this, we have to be innocent like the dove, because we are kind of making moves then. It's hard to tell exactly what's happening from this writing alone, but you get the point. You're serving God, not men. And the way you serve God is something that might actually make men angry. So let's say that they're doing something scummy like that, and you're trying to help them, authentically lead them to a better place, show them a better way, something that will actually bear fruit. Maybe in the future they can help you then, things like that. They might be very displeased by that. And if nothing else, what's gonna happen is they're gonna get lost. They're gonna leave you alone, because you're no longer somebody that can just enable their behavior. You went into the battlefield instead of being one of the nurses in the background, getting them back on their feet just so they can go and hurt themselves again. I have friends. That's cool. You should keep them as friends. If you have this relationship, I said in the beginning, right? Did I? That if you have these relationships with people, they're valuable. You can use them to do God's will in people's life. That is valuable. You do it with a spirit that is innocent, with love in your heart, with caring and compassion, and not just don't focus on your own resentment. It's there because you did something wrong. You served men instead of God. You can't really blame them for your sin, your mistake, your error, right? So don't make that their burden. They got their own burdens, obviously. And you weren't really dismounting the burdens from their back, enabling them. The burden of Christ is light and yoke is easy. Yoke means the thing that how you carry the burden that you do have. So it's like a double whammy. What would you do in this type of a situation? I'd look deeply into my friends and their lives. I'd ask questions. I'd find how to actually help. And that is according to the Father's will. And thanks for sharing this problem with us, with the class.